Do you struggle to find your voice in a noisy world? Do you feel your voice lacks confidence and energy to accurately communicate your thoughts, ideas, and passions? Do you wish there was an easy way to give your voice what it needs to captivate your audience every time? My name is Clay Collins, and like you, I struggled with these issues for years. But I found a blueprint that can help you change the way you think about your voice and therefore the way your voice comes across to others. Welcome to the My Voice Mentor podcast. Are you a content creator? Do you want to become a content creator or a better content creator? Do you know what a content creator is? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about today. But first, I want to give you something for free. If you go to myvoicementor.com/bootcamp, you can sign up for my free 5-day vocal bootcamp that's going to amp up your voice, give it some tools it needs to improve its range, effectiveness, presence, all of that stuff. I want to give it to you free. All you have to do is click in the link in the description or go to myvoicementor.com/bootcamp to sign up right away. If you're watching this on YouTube, I might have the little thingy on the top right. You can click on that. But no matter what, figure out a way to get there. And I can't wait to see you on the inside. But as far as today's topic goes, I don't know if you've noticed this, but content is what's driving commerce today, or pretty much anything in the world is driven by content. So it doesn't really matter if you consider yourself to be a passionate content creator or whether you've ever even given that a thought. If you're in business, or if you're running a small business, or if you're doing anything online, content right now is king. It's one of the best times in our history because good information has never been easier to find or easier to access. And for small business owners and for people like me trying to get their message across, free content is the way to get your voice out there. It's one of the best tools that we have because we have things like YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, all of these outlets that are more than happy to let you host your content on their platform for free to get their platform bigger. But the benefit for you is that it becomes free advertising for your business. Everything from the social media platforms, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all of these are content-driven outlets that are right there ready and waiting for you to get your message out there. And you're thinking to yourself, well, that sounds great, but I hate all those things. I hate social media. I hate this content-driven world. Yeah, I feel you. I don't particularly love spending time on Facebook either, and I'm certainly not a 3 a.m. Twitterer like our former president was. But I can't deny how effective these platforms are. And so even if you're not necessarily considering right now in this moment to consider yourself to be a content creator, all of us should really be thinking about it, because if you're not utilizing these platforms to get your message out there, you're really missing out on some potential great advertising. In fact, some of your best advertising can happen on these platforms. I mean, think about it. To look under the hood, you're listening to this podcast, maybe because you like me and you're doing me a favor because you saw me posting on social media saying, subscribe to my podcast. You might find me mildly entertaining. You might think the content is good. It might encourage you. You might actually be a public speaker or a singer wanting to improve your voice. I really don't care why you're here. I'm just glad that you are here. But the bottom line is that this is my voice, getting my voice out there to you, utilizing these tools that are readily available. The truth is that if you can wrap your head around some basic concepts, content creation really can be a super rewarding, super fun way for you to get your message out there. And it really doesn't matter what your skill set is. It would benefit all of us to improve our online presentation. But you're saying to yourself, not for me, no way, I hate cameras, not for me, I don't even want to think about it. Well, trust me, believe it or not, I am very much an introverted person. It doesn't mean I don't like to talk to people or that I am not outgoing. I am very outgoing with people that I like or that, my friends and family. But I had to learn how to be comfortable talking into this thing. Of course, I'm going to let you know. Yeah, of course, you probably didn't think until just now. You're not considering that I'm looking into a camera right now. Of course I am, but hopefully you haven't been thinking of that as you're watching me on YouTube, or if you're listening to me on Apple Podcasts. You're not thinking of me talking into a microphone right now, but I am. There's a microphone just below my chin here, and there's a camera right in front of me. And yeah, it's not real natural to talk into a microphone or to look into a camera. And so I've had to learn how to look beyond the camera straight to you, because you're the one that I care about. I don't care about Canon, and I don't care about this cheap Chinese company that makes this particular brand of microphone. These are just tools that I use because I really want to get my message to you. And I want to help you do the same. So if you don't know how to get started, or thinking, hey, okay, maybe you've convinced me, I need to do some content for my business or for my blog or whatever, I just don't know how to do that. Well, that's what I want to help you with today. It's not as hard as you think. The truth is it's never been a better time than right now to publish online content. First of all, one of the advantages that you have in this world is that we as human beings can never tire of just consuming content. We are just, to some degree, we're addicts of information. We love it. And, 20, 30 years ago, the way to consume content for free was the local library. And really, honestly, believe it or not, even the content at the library was probably of a higher content that we find now in YouTube, even though the YouTube content is brilliant. But you'd go to the library and you'd learn the Dewey Decimal System, and you'd pull out the card and you'd go to the local librarian and she'd say, what can I help you with? And she'd show you how to find the book and you'd learn. How many of us did that? Not I, said the blind man before he picked up his hammer and saw. But that was the way we did it. Now, literally all we have to do is search and scroll, and we can just get access to some of the best content out there. And man, I love it. I love consuming content. Whether it's Netflix or Amazon or my personal favorite, YouTube, I have learned a plethora of valuable knowledge for free on the internet. And you know what? Some of those people actually got my business because I started trusting their content and trusting their expertise. And you can use the same for your business. You don't have to be an expert presenter. You just have to have something valuable to share. So if you're used to posting little things here and there on social media, you can become a content creator. So I want to talk about some steps to help you get started. And a little bit, we'll talk about some of the technical aspects of it. But in the meantime, you probably already have in your hand or in your possession all of the tools that you need to get started. Right here. These guys right here. If you have, this is an iPhone 12 that I have turned off. This is an iPhone 12 that I've got, and it's not even as new as the new Pro Maxes that are out. But even this has 2 cameras on it and a pretty high quality microphone. I could just pick this guy up right now. If I didn't have my microphone here or this camera, I could just use my phone and get fantastic results. In fact, a lot of successful podcasts use nothing more than their phone. So there's no technical barrier, but really the biggest barrier that all of us might think is, I'm just not good at presenting. So I want to help you with that. How do you prepare your mindset for getting some content out of there? Well, let me ask you some questions. Are you a teacher? Are you a coach? Do you have a product? Obviously, your life has meaning and purpose. You have chosen a vocation, something that you've gotten really, really good at, and you want to share that knowledge with other people. Well, what are the ways that we do that? Well, we can set up a brick and mortar, and we can invite people to come and see us and say, here's what we're selling, and hopefully that they pass by our store. We can get on social media and say, hey, we're having a sale. These are all really, really good things. But the best way is to regularly post content, video, audio, start a podcast. Maybe not everybody was supposed to do a podcast, but you might be able to do some shorts, some stuff. And if you're doing social media at all, you're probably holding up your camera at some point and posting to your friends, your family, your network, whatever. Well, content creation is no different than that. It simply is just being a little bit more organized, a little bit more put together, preparing your content and presenting it. In my case, I'm a voice coach. I'm here to talk to you about the voice. And the next step of that is what you can do with it. Content creation, which is what today's topic is all about. So I prepared some information. So your first step one, prepare what you want to talk about. Hopefully it's something that you already know about. If you're having to go out and do hours of research, you might want to pick a different topic, but pick a topic that's relevant to your business or relevant to your customer or relevant to the person that you want to reach, and prepare a topic, not like a manual or just endless notes. Just in your mind, some topics that you might want to discuss. That's your first step. Do some preparation work. Number 2, and this is the big one, how do you prepare yourself for the camera? Now, this one's a tough one. And frankly, there's a lot of people out there that give some maybe not so good advice. They say, well, just turn the camera on and figure it out as you go. They'll say, hey, you'll get better as you go. So just turn on the camera and start talking. Well, that does help. And I certainly encourage you to don't hold yourself back. Don't let fear of a camera hold you back. But you need a little bit of a game plan. You're just going to frustrate yourself if you turn on a camera, because your first presentation is going to go something like this. Hey, everybody, I'm going to talk to you about something, and you're going to feel like your skin is just crawling out of you. It's not going to work. You need to be able to transition, as I have, from this lens that's in front of me to talking to a person that I care about. And I care about you. That's why I did this. That's why I've gone through all this work and I've developed myself, because I want to reach you. You got to get past that. Well, how do we do that? Well, there's some really good tips I can tell you as far as getting in front of a camera. Number 1, have a blueprint. First of all, you've got your content. We got that covered. The next thing is, what format should we do? Because I could script it all out, and I could read a script, and I could read that script like, today I'm going to talk to you about sandpaper, or whatever the case may be. Well, some people do really, really good with scripts. And if that's the way you roll, fantastic. But what I have found, and the way for me to produce a lot of content in a short amount of time, is just to line up some topics that I could just kind of riff and talk about. Okay? But not only that, follow a very specific blueprint. And the blueprint I'm going to give you is the dude with a problem blueprint. This is the Hollywood story method that pretty much every movie that you have ever seen follows. Dude with a problem. You'll never forget that. Dude with a problem goes something like this. There's a dude. He has a problem. And in order to accomplish what he's wanting to accomplish, he has to enlist the help of a guide. And the guide trains the dude to become what he needs to become to be successful, or to beat the guy and to win. And then as the story goes, you have 2 outcomes. You have the outcome of the dude accomplishes his goal, kicks the tail of the villain, or he fails in his task and everybody's sad and it's a tragedy. Well, that's the basic story. Let's take a look at a couple movies that follow this. Karate Kid. I know it's an old movie, but a lot of us know it. The dude in this case was the Karate Kid. He had a problem. He was getting beat up at school because he was new and he was small. So he said, I've got to learn how to defend myself. I got to learn to fight back on these guys that are beating me up. In steps the guide, Mr. Miyagi, teaches the dude how to defend himself with karate. He becomes a karate champion, beats up the dude that once bullied him, and we all cheer. Right? Okay, Rocky. All of the Rocky's movies are the same. Dude has a problem. He wants to be a boxer. He has to beat Apollo Creed. In steps the trainer who teaches him how to do jumping jacks and become this famous, incredible boxer, and he beats Apollo Creed or Mr. T or whoever the villain is. I'm showing my age, but there really is not a better decade of movies than the 80s. So there you go. Anyway, I think you get the point. Whether you are talking about clothes or a skill or a coaching program or whatever the case may be, your customer has to have a problem that you solve. And so you formulate all of your material around that blueprint. In my case, and you might notice this, you might have picked up on this already, I usually start all my videos with a question. That question leads you to a problem that I have already predetermined that I want to help you solve. Because I've been doing this a while, I've come across a few problems. So while I may not know your specific problem, maybe one of these podcasts directly speaks to your problem. Well, that problem is my blueprint. That's the whole purpose of why I'm here. I'm here to help you solve your problems. I certainly have people in my life that help me solve my problems. I want to help you solve yours. And really coming into any kind of content creation with that blueprint is great. Keeping people engaged in the story from beginning to end. I don't care if you're talking about something boring. There's definitely a story you can tell with what it is that you want to get across to your people. And then the rest is what I would call the gravy. So your next step is be engaging. And this does take some practice. You have to practice. Sometimes I practice in front of a mirror. I look at myself. I work on my voice. I'm a voice coach. So I have learned how to use my voice dynamically and the areas of pitch to get the point across. So work on your craft. If you record yourself, play it back, and you're like, oh, wow, that's boring. Ooh, I need to work on that. That's probably going to happen, by the way. Go back and listen to it. Give yourself some healthy critiques and then do it again. The first time you don't have to go live. Just record and play it back and give yourself an honest, objective assessment. You will get better over time. And the more you hear yourself and the more you critique yourself in a healthy way, the more you assess your voice, the better you'll get. And so at first, you may not want to publish the first things you do. You're just practicing. But once you're ready, don't be afraid to take your content online. Don't be afraid to take it to the next level, because you're never going to be at a point where you feel like you've arrived. I certainly haven't. There's a lot of things I'd like to improve in my own voice and my own presentation, and I'm continually asking for people's input. And that's another step. Ask for other people's feedback. They might have some really great advice to help you improve the engagement. For me, my coach for many years was my wife. Beth is all about the story. Before she told me about how to use story in my presentation, I was clueless, which means I was pretty boring. First few videos I did, they were terrible. You will never see them. But anyway, after a while, I got used to it. It became normal. And the better you get at something, the more you want to do it. So really, these are just some ideas to help you get your content out. Now, on the flip side, there's a whole other part of creating content that you have to learn as well, which is how to pick a right microphone, how to pick the right camera. Should I use my phone? Should I try to have a studio setup? How do I make what's behind me and what's in front of me? And how do I light it all up? I mean, these are some technical things that all go into it as well. But for right now, don't worry about any of that. Just keep it as simple as possible. The key is just start getting your content out there. You're going to improve as you go. So don't let anything hold you back. Content creation is where it's at, and it's probably one of the best skills that you can learn. So let me ask you this. Would you like to dive in further and really get some tools and get some practical advice and practical coaching right now to improve your content creation? Well, if you do, I want to encourage you to go to myvoicementor.com and look at our membership. We work with not only vocalists and singers and voiceover artists, but we work with voice professionals, those that actually want to take their ability and turn it into something that's going to help their business, help their church, help their lives, even grow their own brand. We help people do this all the time, and I want to help you. So get started on my 5-day vocal bootcamp. That's the best place to start. It's the best investment in your voice. And then from there, we can take some other steps together as you grow with us. So I hope I've given you something to think about today. Believe me, if content creation is something that you're interested in, now is the time to do it. The cost of entry and the time of entry is better than it's ever been. You won't regret investing in your presentation skills. Believe me, you're going to have them for the rest of your life. But in the meantime, I'm so glad you decided to join me today. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And if you'd like to be alerted each time I have a new episode premiere, go ahead and hit the bell notification as well so that you get a message when these episodes release. In the meantime, keep investing in your voice, and I can't wait to see you next time.